Okay, over this weekend I managed to mostly binge watch, a show on Netflix called The Residence. And this show really took me by surprise. And I am very surprised at how good it is. And I will recommend this show very highly. I'm going to get to some things on that. The first time I saw the trailer for this, I thought it was like, okay, something happens and there's like a murder in the White House. And it does take place in the White House. And I will have to say, and I'm going to really talk at length on this, the lengths that this show went to depict the White House were unbelievably great. And by unbelievably, I kind of went like, okay, I don't know how they did this. They probably did not film inside the White House, but they definitely probably created this massive set of the White House down to blueprint-like details showing a lot of the things in it. Now, I don't know how much of it is factually accurate, and I imagine that they probably, this is one of those shows or films that shows like, see, we did our homework kind of thing. But all of it is very plot relevant, which something I really enjoyed about this thing, because this is a show that is really dependent on its plot and its complexity. And not only that, it's funny too. The dialogue is very, it's just always on point. It's really great characters. It's just such a really good show. So what's the show about? Well, it turns out that the White House usher, which is apparently a position in the White House, this is basically a guy who oversees all the stuff that happens in the White House. I think his name is A.B. Winter in the show, and he's played by that guy who played Gus on Breaking Bad, or at least I think he is. It's just, I didn't check IMDb before that. But I swear this actor is in everything, isn't he? And so, anyway, he winds up dead, and but we still see him in flashbacks throughout the whole thing. So, in fact, this is one of those shows where it's like the chronology is jumping all over the place. But at no point in time do I ever feel confused about what's going on in the show, even though the editing is super scattershot. In one case, I think they show, like, I swear, 30 shots in 1 second. And but at the same time, I kind of get it. So what's going on is once this guy's found dead, they basically bring in a detective whose name is something like... is it Cordelia or Christina Cupp or something like that? And she's played by, I forget the actress's name. I think it's something like, and I'm going to totally mispronounce it. It's something like Udo Azuba. Oh man, that's John Travolta levels of mispronunciation. I know. She used to be on Orange is the New Black, but the character she plays is just somebody who's just, is very quirky and is really into birding. But at the same time, she has that ability that you see in a lot of detective shows where she can just walk in a room, notice little details, and from there ascertain things about the crime scene. And she's a master sleuth. And I think if I had to compare this show to anything, I would say it'd be the film Knives Out. But with Knives Out, they were taking the mystery trope, flipping it on its end, and then flipping it on its end again. The Residence is more of a it is really more of a murder mystery story taking place within the White House, but I do like its style. It does a lot of things, and it shows what it shows, like the politics of the White House. And I'm not talking about what the president is dealing with, but just what the staff inside the White House is dealing with. And it's called The Residence because it really deals with not the rooms that all the official business of the White House take place in, but it's more the places where the people in the White House actually live. So like the Lincoln bedroom and stuff like that. So they show and they really highlight this place. And I have to admit, I have no idea really how big the White House is on the inside. I figured it was a very big place. And sure enough, they show like several floors of this thing. And at some point in time, they must have built like almost like a massive dollhouse version of this thing, because there are these overhead shots and sweeping pans of this place that I went like, oh my gosh, how did they do this thing? And so that really blew me away. And these days we're having very big budget shows. And this is a Shondaland show. Yeah, I think this is the same people that did Grey's Anatomy and stuff like that. And I'm going like, wow, this is a really fantastic show. And I don't even watch Grey's Anatomy. So I don't know. If the dialogue on Grey's Anatomy was as punchy as it is in this, then maybe I might give that a whirl. But yeah, so this is one of those shows that I think, I'm going to draw a comparison. There's a show on Hulu right now that I've watched called Only Murders in the Building. I like it, but I don't love it. I think there's something off about it. I don't really feel like it's that good of a show. And it does deal with the whole cozy murder sort of thing, because it seems like murder in movies and television are often done two ways. The one is the real dark method, which I have to admit where they really fight, and then that really emphasizes the gore and the violence and just the overall criminal minds kind of feel like you almost get in the head of these killers and stuff like that. And that's very grisly. I mean, you get in horror territory with that. And then you get into this stuff like Murder, She Wrote or Monk or something like that, where there's a homicide and then you have to figure out who done it. It's very quiet and cozy, kind of Agatha Christie style. So yeah, and I'm guessing this is meant to be a cozy style murder mystery. And it works pretty well, I have to admit. I really like Detective Cup's character and how she gets a suspect in. And there's great scenes where she's interviewing them, because after this body of the White House usher is found, it looks like it's supposed to be a suicide, but she looks at it and goes like, it's definitely a murder. And since they're having this state dinner between Australia and the United States, they have to essentially lock everybody in because it's technically a crime scene. And then here's the interesting thing about this show. It uses a framing device I didn't really expect. They have like a Capitol Hill sort of hearing over this thing. And you see characters kind of brought in. They jump back and forth to this crime scene, to the Capitol Hill hearing about it. And I'm going to get into a bit of heavy spoilers on this, but at some point, I think it's episode 6 or episode 5, that they leave that whole Capitol hearing thing, which I found really odd, because it seemed like Detective Cup was about to crack the case, and there was always these leads that she would follow that would reveal that people knew more than they were letting on. And these leads were dropped. They were really hinted at. And these were things I kind of sort of took mental notes on and found out, oh, okay, that's going to come into play later. And sure enough, it does. They focus on things like a pastry chef and I think like one of the cooks. And they focus on a lot of things that you think like, okay, this guy did it or this guy did it. And now, honestly, at this point in time, I've not watched the last episode. And now I've heard that this show might be back for a second season. And by back for a second season, I'm guessing they're going to put this character in another type of scene and another type of setting, which I'm all for. But as I recall, the film Knives Out, if you remember, they made a sequel to that, and that sequel wasn't that good, I thought. So I don't really know if they can really do that. But hey, maybe they should just do a one and done on this, and because I'm actually kind of hoping that they're, you know what, at this time I'm speaking, I have no idea if they've even resolved the murder on this show, and maybe they won't. I don't know. I think this show could be different, and this show feels very different. So if they want to do that, they could do that. I'm all for it. But yeah, then hey, I mean, it's already been done. So, but as far as a season 2 for it, or what they plan to do with Detective Cup, oh yeah. Give us some other cool exotic setting and just kind of go for that. So, this is a show that I highly recommend you watch. I really can't. This was a show that really drew me in on the first episode, and I think you know how it is when you're watching a show and you watch the first episode and you go like, okay, I gotta watch the next episode of this. And television, I think, is really designed to really hook you in now, and specifically shows that have a good story arc that goes along there. You're naturally very interested in finding out, okay, who killed A.B. Winter, this White House usher. There's a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of actors that you've seen in other things that show up on this that are really good, all except for maybe Hugh Jackman. You'll get that after you watch this. Anyway, so I think I'm just getting this a little bit early. I can't really recommend this enough. So this is Mark Rollins from the Geek Church, signing off.